Hello, and welcome to Curious Snips. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're lying down in bed with the lights dimmed low, slowly melting into your pillow, or curled on the couch, letting your mind float like a leaf on still water, this space is for you. Tonight, we begin something quietly astonishing. We'll drift into the world of time, not just what it is, but how it bends, stretches, and slips softly beneath your feet without you ever noticing. The story of time dilation isn't just science. It's poetry folded into the laws of the universe. It's about the shape of waiting, the weight of speed, and how two hearts can beat apart in the same moment. Now I should gently warn you, this tale may soothe you so well, you won't hear the end. But if it keeps your mind glowing a bit too long, I promise that even wakefulness can be restful when filled with wonder. If you find peace in this moment, I'd be grateful if you gave this video a quiet like and maybe subscribed for more dreamy science. And if you're comfortable, I'd love to know where you're listening from and what time it is there. Your words light up a map of bedtime from around the world, a constellation of rest. As always, this story is for relaxation and gentle education only. It is not a substitute for medical advice or professional care, just a safe harbor to fall asleep with curiosity. Now, let's begin. Your body feels still tonight. Your breathing slow, the room quiet, and the clock on the wall, Mr. Roy, each tick seems to match your heartbeat. It all feels so consistent, so absolute. But what if I told you that clock is lying? Not intentionally, of course. It's doing its best. But time isn't as simple as the rhythm it pretends to keep. Time is more like a soft, flowing current. And your body, your thoughts, your memories, they are tiny boats adrift on it. And sometimes, without ever noticing, your little boat floats faster or slower than someone else's. This is time dilation. It sounds technical, but feel it with me instead. Imagine two birds flying side by side. One soars higher, skimming the edge of the sky where gravity loosens its grip. The other glides low, where Earth holds tight. They flap their wings in sync, but strangely, when they meet again, they aren't quite the same. One has aged a little less, a few heartbeats spared, a tiny ripple in time's quiet stream. You see, time bends. It bends when things move quickly, and it bends when they're near something heavy. This isn't fantasy. It's Einstein's gentle, revolutionary truth that time is stitched into space, a fabric called space-time. And like fabric, it can wrinkle and stretch. You've felt time change, haven't you? In moments of joy, hours slip away like mist. But when you wait, truly wait for news, for healing, for someone, each second expands, heavy and slow. That feeling isn't just psychological. It's a tiny echo of what the universe does on grander scales. Imagine you're floating through space, gently gliding beside the International Space Station. From Earth, it seems like you're circling quickly. But if you were up there, time would pass just a little slower for you than for someone on the ground. Not by much, just microseconds. But over enough time, it adds up. Astronauts come home slightly younger than if they'd stayed. They don't notice it, not really. There's no sudden shift, no time machine hiss or glow, just a subtle gift from speed and gravity. A moment folded inside a moment. And that's the secret. Time dilation doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't sting or shimmer. It hums beneath your senses, unnoticed, like the faint vibration of a deep cello note long after it's played. So tonight, as you rest, you might wonder, is time flowing evenly in this room? Is your head aging at a slightly different pace than your feet, pulled ever so gently by gravity? The answer, curiously, is yes. The difference is unimaginably small, a fraction of a second over your entire life. But still, it's real. Just by lying here on Earth, you are living proof that time is elastic. Let your thoughts stretch with it. Picture a mountain, tall and still. A clock resting at its base ticks faster than one perched at the peak. Why? Because the mountain pushes it further from Earth's center, and time, oddly obedient, flows just a little more freely there. That's how delicate the universe is, how precise, and how quietly strange. You're not a bystander to time. You carry it. Every cell in your body keeps a rhythm. Your memories are woven through time's gentle threads. And as the cosmos spins, and planets whirl, and galaxies race away, you are moving with them, your own little timeline, swaying among giants. This is why GPS satellites need special clocks. They orbit Earth far above, moving quickly and light on gravity. If their clocks ticked like ours, they'd fall out of sync. So they're adjusted constantly to account for the stretching and slowing of time. The world you move through the phone you carry, the maps you trust, they all depend on a universe where time is never quite the same in two places. So tonight, as you fall asleep, imagine time as something not rigid, but soft, not ticking, but flowing. A river, yes, the one with eddies, with whirlpools, with silent depths. And you're floating on it gently, and always. Maybe, just maybe, that explains why some dreams feel longer than the night allows, or why a loved one's touch seems to hold the world still for a moment. Time isn't only what we measure, it's also what we feel. And what we feel sometimes is that something is shifting, that time doesn't quite behave. But what happens when speed isn't just gentle, but extreme? When you move so fast that time begins to melt away? Close your eyes and imagine riding the edge of light itself. Out there, something strange begins to happen. You begin to drift now, not just into sleep, but into motion. Imagine yourself stepping into a sleek, silent spacecraft, hovering just above the edge of Earth's atmosphere. There is no sound here, only the soft hum of systems and your own breath in your helmet, slow and even, like waves on a quiet shore. With a whisper of energy, the craft moves forward. Faster, faster still. You watch the Earth fall away beneath you, its blue turning darker, its clouds dissolving into soft spirals. The stars, once still, now stretch just slightly. And something very subtle, very strange begins to happen. Time slows. Not for you. And to you, nothing feels different. Your hands move as they always have. Your thoughts arrive in rhythm. Your breath continues its slow rise and fall. But if someone on Earth were watching you, really watching, they would see your moments stretch. Your seconds would look longer. Your movements would seem just a touch more graceful, as though slowed for effect. This is the slowness at the edge of speed. The closer you travel to the speed of light, the more time bends to your motion. You're not doing anything wrong. You're simply moving quickly through space. And the universe, ever kind, lets you borrow time to do it. This is not fiction. This is the deep truth of relativity. Not theory in the uncertain sense, but in the way a theory becomes law, because no experiment has ever proved it wrong. Time dilation. When you move very fast, time slows down for you, not just in sensation, but in real, measurable effect. Imagine two perfectly identical clocks. One stays on Earth. The other travels with you at nearly light speed. When you reunite, the traveling clock will have ticked fewer times. You will be younger. Not metaphorically, biologically. Your cells, your skin, your thoughts will have aged less. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. Even our fastest planes, our high-speed satellites experience this. Their time flows just a little differently, so gently that only atomic clocks can catch it. But scale it up. Imagine a ship flying near the speed of light, off toward a distant star. You could travel out for a few years, turn back, and return home to find decades have passed. Children grown, cities changed, skylines unfamiliar. To you, only a short time passed, but to the Earth, you were gone for a generation. Isn't that strange? Time, something we treat as universal, is not. It's more like a perspective, a point of view. You're not cheating time. You're simply riding a different path through space-time. And time quietly, respectfully, goes a little slower for you on that path. It's like moving through syrup instead of air. The faster you push, the more resistance you meet. But instead of physical drag, the universe drags on your time. At rest, everything feels consistent. But once you move quickly enough, or really quickly, clocks begin to disagree. But clocks are only the beginning. Because everything you are, your thoughts, your feelings, your heartbeat, all of it lives on time's rhythm. So when time shifts, your entire being shifts with it. Imagine now, you're traveling to Proxima Centauri, one of our closest stars, 4 light years away. At near light speed, the journey might take you a few days, maybe a week from your perspective. But back on Earth, years might pass. The seasons would cycle. New lives would begin. Old ones would end. And you would return unchanged, carrying the past forward into the future. Like a letter sealed in a bottle, thrown upstream into time's river. That's what motion does. It slows time gently and invisibly, and it works both ways. Because just as speed slows time, gravity does too. A connection we'll explore more soon. But here, at the edge of velocity, something else becomes clear. Light is the universe's ultimate speed limit. Nothing with mass, not even your spacecraft, no matter how advanced, can quite reach the speed of light. As you accelerate closer and closer, you need more and more energy. And time, ever loyal, keeps slowing in return. It's a beautiful symmetry, as if the universe is saying, you may move fast, but not without consequence. And light itself, pure, massless light, experiences no time at all. From a photon's perspective, the moment it leaves a star and the moment it touches your eye are the same. No waiting, no travel, just presence. That is the stillness light carries. But you with mass must move differently. You stretch the moments you pass through. And when you return from orbit, through speed, through starlight, you carry with you the evidence of that drift. There's a calm beauty in knowing you are already moving through time in such a subtle, mysterious way. Even your rest is not truly still. The Earth spins beneath you. It flies around the sun. The sun moves through the galaxy. And so your body, nestled in bed, is sailing through space-time at unimaginable speed, carving a path that gently curves time itself. Maybe that's why sleep feels different some nights. Why dreams take longer than the night allows. Maybe deep down, your body knows time is never still. Not for the stars, not for you. You live in a universe where speed and time are woven together. Where moving fast doesn't just blur the world, it slows the world's unfolding. And every motion, every journey, every span of a distant galaxy reshapes the meaning of now. So rest easy tonight, knowing you are never truly still. Even in sleep, you travel. But what if you weren't just speeding through time? What if time itself was curving beneath your feet? Not because of motion, but because of mass, because something nearby was pulling time into itself. Let's fall now into the gravity of time. Let's fall through space-time itself. You don't feel it, but you are always falling. Not the kind of falling that ends with a thud or a landing, but a soft, endless curve around something massive. Right now, even as you lie still, the earth is pulling you close. And yet, you're not crashing down. You're moving sideways, fast enough to keep missing the ground. A quiet orbit held by invisible threads. This is gravity. But not just the kind you learned in childhood. Not just apples and dropping stones. Gravity, in the deep way of things, is something more subtle, more poetic. It is not a force that pulls things together. It is the bending of time itself. Picture space-time as a great, soft sheet. Not flat and rigid, but flexible, like a stretched fabric. Now place something heavy on it. The Earth, a planet, a star. The fabric dips, curves, folds, and anything nearby, or even light, rolls toward the curve. Not because it's being yanked, but because it's following the easiest path, the path time lays out in its new curved shape. This is how you fall. Not down, but forward, into curved space-time. Your fall is a story written by the mass beneath you and the time it distorts. Imagine standing at the top of a mountain. You breathe thinner air. Sky darkens just a bit. Time, too, changes up here, just slightly. It flows a little faster than at sea level. Why? Because you're farther from the mass of the Earth, and gravity's grip is looser. Now go deeper. Imagine yourself near something far heavier, a neutron star. A collapsed sun, dense enough that a teaspoon of it weighs more than a mountain. Here, time doesn't just slow its stretches. It thins like honey warmed in your hands. Clocks near this mass tick noticeably slower than ones far away. Not metaphorically, actually. And then go deeper, still, toward the edge of a black hole. A place where gravity becomes so intense, the time itself begins to freeze. Not suddenly, but gradually, like a sunset that never quite ends. You hover just above the event horizon, the edge of no return. From your perspective, a few minutes pass. But outside, the universe moves on. Hours, years, centuries drift by. You're still there, suspended, watching stars arc away while the cosmos forgets how long you've been gone. That's the quiet trick of gravity. It slows time. It slows everything. And it happens all around you. Not just in black holes or neutron stars, but here, in valleys, at sea level, on planets. Even your body plays a role. The atoms inside you, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, were once forged in stars. Heavy elements created in massive explosions flung across space. Those same elements now curve space-time just a little around you. You're both shaping and shaped by time. You're a little dip in the fabric, And because of that, your time flows just a little differently from someone else's. If you were to build two identical clocks, one kept on the ground, one placed atop a tall tower, they would tick differently. The one higher up would run slightly faster. This has been measured, repeated, confirmed. Your position in gravity shapes your experience of time. So tonight, as you lie down, consider that you're resting deeper in the Earth's curve than the ceiling above you. Your pillow, your chest, your toes, all at subtly different depths in gravity. And so, in a very small way, each part of you experiences a slightly different now. But we don't notice it. We are made for it. Our hearts, our lungs, our thoughts, they grow up in this curve. To us, it feels normal, and yet the universe is always whispering its strange truths, always stretching time near the massive and letting it flow more freely far from weight. Gravity doesn't just shape orbits. It shapes them. It shapes aging. It shapes the way stars burn and how galaxies spin. And it wraps us in a quiet, invisible net, a net that holds us gently against the Earth while time slips differently, moment by moment, all around. If you've ever stood on the edge of a canyon and felt a strange pause, a stillness in your chest as you looked into the vastness that was time bending softly. You were feeling the depth of the Earth, not just in space, but in seconds. So tonight, sleep in the curve. Let your thoughts drift like starlight across spent time. And remember, every moment you live is already part of this great, quiet fall. But not all clocks fall at the same pace. Some travel instead. And as they move, they tell their own peculiar tale. Let's listen now to the story of a clock that ran too slow. Picture two clocks, identical in design, perfectly tuned. Two quiet little hearts beating in unison. You place one on your bedside table. The other you strap to the wrist of someone you love. An astronaut, perhaps. As they climb aboard a spacecraft, you wave goodbye, and they rise into the sky, their body, their breath, and their time all drifting away from yours. Back in your room, your clock ticks on. It doesn't question. It simply counts. 1 second, and another, and another. The rhythm you've come to know and trust. Up in orbit, though, the other clock ticks too. But it ticks a little slower. A fraction. A whisper. Barely noticeable. Until you wait long enough. You see, that clock, the one soaring around Earth, is experiencing time differently. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, literally. It's running too slow. This isn't a malfunction. It's not because the watch is broken, or cold, or tired. It's because it's moving fast. Because it's farther from Earth's center. And because, as Einstein showed us, motion and gravity both conspire to reshape time. It's called gravitational time dilation and relative velocity time dilation. But names don't matter when you're lying still in bed, watching time soften. All you need to know is this. In this universe, how you move and where you are changes how fast time flows. And this change isn't just theory. It's measured, tracked, accounted for. Every GPS satellite above you carries a clock, and without adjusting for both the speed of the satellite and the difference in gravity, the whole navigation system would drift by kilometers each day. Imagine that. Getting lost on Earth. because of the way time stretches in space. So we compensate. We've learned to whisper to time, "Thank you, but not so fast. Now come back to the two clocks, one at home, one in orbit." Eventually, the astronaut returns. You embrace, smile, laugh. But if you were to compare the two clocks, you'd find something almost magical. Their time is no longer the same, maybe only microseconds off. But that difference is real. And it means that for one of you, time passed more slowly. It's as though the traveler dipped into a quieter current of the river, flowed gently, while you rushed ahead. It's small, but profound, because it tells us time is not fixed. It adapts, it listens, it flows differently for each of us, depending on our path. And that includes you, right now. Your own body contains clocks. Not the ticking kind, but chemical clocks, cellular clocks, chronometers of bone and blood and breath. They mark your days, record your stress, track your sleep, age your skin. And yet, even those clocks respond to where you are and how you move. A mountain climber, resting at higher altitude, lives time just a little faster. A diver, far below the surface, ages just a little slower. The difference is infinitesimal, but it exists. The Earth's gravity changes slightly with height, with mountain minerals and molten cores. And your time listens. You're not separate from this. You're never outside the flow. You're a clock, a collection of tiny synchronized clocks, living in a world that bends, dips, and swells with time. Maybe that's why some moments feel eternal, and others vanish in an instant. Because time does not move like a train. It moves like a dream, and this dream has edges. Edges defined by mass, and speed, and movement. Now imagine this. Two twins. One remains on Earth. The other travels away, fast, far into the stars. When they meet again, one has lived fewer days. Their faces show it. Their memories echo it. And though they are both still young, one has wandered farther through space-time, not just in distance, but in time itself. This is the twin paradox. A thought experiment turned experimental truth. Time doesn't just pass. It travels with us. And sometimes, it waits behind. There's something deeply tender about that idea, that you might move through the world, and time quietly gives you space to do so. That you are always in motion, even in stillness, and time responds. So, tonight, in your quiet, resting body, know that your moments are not absolute. They are shared with the earth, with the stars, with every motion you've ever made. And maybe, just maybe, that explains the feeling of déjà vu, or the way old memories sometimes feel newer than last week. Maybe the clock that ran too slow. It's not far from you, after all. Maybe it's you. And if time can be shaped by motion and mass, then what happens when you step away from the world entirely? What happens when you sink below the surface, into Earth's deep silence? Let's descend now into the still, dark mystery of time beneath the mountain. You are descending now, not into sleep, though sleep will find you soon, but into the earth. Down past the wind and weather, past trees and roots, into something quieter, older. Step softly with your imagination. Feel the cool air thicken, the light dim. You're traveling through rock, through history, through layers that have pressed and held time for millions of years. The deeper you go, the more the world stills. No birdsong here, no ticking clocks, only the distant echo of dripping water and the hush of stone. You've arrived in a cavern deep beneath the mountain. Here, your body feels heavier, but not in the way weights pull at your limbs. It's more subtle. It's the pressure of silence, the density of time. And strangely, your time is now different. It's not imagination. It's not mood. It's the quiet truth of gravitational time dilation, humming in the dark. Because the deeper you go beneath the Earth's surface, the closer you are to the planet's center, and the stronger gravity becomes. Not enough to crush you, just enough to change your seconds. In the depths beneath the mountain, your clock runs a little slower than a clock on the peak above. Maybe only by a few billionths of a second each day. But over a lifetime, even those quiet moments add up. Imagine this cave holds a perfect atomic clock. Another sits far above, where snow caps the world. Over years, scientists compare their rhythm. And slowly, surely, the mountain clock pulls ahead. The underground one lags, like a story told a little more slowly, savoring each word. This is the song of the deep. It's not just theoretical. It's been measured. Real experiments with real clocks, carried up and down mountains. Time recorded. Time compared. Even the passage of time, it seems, is affected by where you choose to stand. You are living proof of this. Even as you rest here in imagination, your body has different depths. Your head, your chest, your feet, each one a little closer or farther from the Earth's center. Each one, in theory, living slightly different time. So the question rises like mist in the cave. What is a moment? Is it a shared agreement between clocks? A breath? A heartbeat? Or is it something more? Something shaped by the curve of space, the weight of gravity, the stillness of stone? Beneath the mountain, time loses its urgency. There are no appointments here, no screens, no schedules. Only the slow carving of stalactites, drip by patient drip, and the quiet memory of ancient oceans pressed into fossils at your feet. You run your hand along the wall. It's cold, rough. But it holds stories from before time had names, long before humans marked years or counted days. And still down here, the Earth holds time close, like something precious, something heavy. It makes you wonder. If gravity slows time, then perhaps the Earth is a keeper of slow things, not just rocks and roots, but stories, secrets, echoes of the very beginning. And the deeper you go, the more time you leave behind. Maybe that's why deep places feel sacred. Caves, crypts, canyons. They remind us that not all time moves the same, that some time is meant to be slow, to stretch, to breathe. Even your thoughts slow here. Your body sinks, your breath deepens, and somewhere inside you, you understand stillness is not the absence of motion. It is the presence of gravity's care. Rest in this. Let the idea wrap around you, like stone wraps around silence. Know that time isn't ticking past you. It's flowing through you, bending around you, following you, and gently changing based on where you stand. You may never notice it, not in days or hours, but the universe knows the mountain knows. And in the gentle difference between here and there, you find something almost spiritual, a reminder that time is not just a measure, but a landscape. You don't need to climb Everest or descend into the Mariana Trench to feel it. You're already part of this dance. Each breath you take bends space ever so slightly. Each step you make leaves a ripple in the river of time. So next time you stand on a mountaintop, or wander through a canyon, or lie on the floor and look up at the ceiling, remember, your body, like the clocks, is always whispering to gravity. And gravity always answers by curving your time. Now, what if we took this even further? What if two people, born on the same day, parted ways, one going fast, the other staying still, and one of them returned younger? What story would their faces tell? Let's turn now to the strange, gentle tale of the twin who returned younger. Imagine two twins, born just seconds apart. They grow together, same home, same sky, same rhythm of days. Their laughs sound alike. Their eyes mirror each other. Their hearts beat with matching drums. Now imagine this. One of them steps onto a spacecraft. A quiet farewell. A soft launch into the stars. Not forever, just a journey. A loop around the galaxy. A high-speed arc through space-time. The other stays. They keep to the Earth, walking familiar streets, watching seasons bloom and fade, marking birthdays with candles and cake. Time passes. Years on Earth, but not the same years on board that ship. You see, for the one moving fast, time flows more slowly. This is not a metaphor, not poetry. It's physics. Relativity says so. The faster you move, the slower your internal clock ticks. Your molecules shift gently. Your cells divide more slowly. Your heart's rhythm finds a longer space between beats. So, while the earthbound twin lives through decades, the one in motion ages far less. Eventually, the ship returns. There's a reunion, tender, still breath, and something is different. They are still twins, still made of the same atoms, still woven from the same childhood. But one is younger, not just in spirit, but in skin, in bones, in biology. It is subtle, but real, measured, confirmed. This is the twin paradox, a beautiful outcome of time dilation. Though it seems like a contradiction, it's only a paradox if you believe time is the same everywhere. And it isn't. One twin followed a gentler path through time, while the other rode the faster river. The difference comes from motion, from speed, and from acceleration, especially the turning point. The moment the traveler reverses course to return home, that shift, that curve back toward Earth, is where time makes its quiet adjustment. Think of time not as a line, but as a landscape. Some parts of it are steeper, some slower, some wide open, others tight and winding. The traveling twin moved across that terrain differently. Not wrong, just differently. Their journey carved a shorter path through time, and the result, youth preserved. But here's the wonder. Neither twin feels anything strange. They lived their moments in full. They laughed, slept, dreamed, loved, all in real time. Their time. No one skipped ahead. No one waited. Each simply followed their own clock. And only when they came together again did the difference reveal itself. It's like listening to two songs, each beautiful, each complete, but played in different keys. And when they meet, there's harmony, but also contrast. This isn't a thought experiment anymore. In late 71, scientists flew precise atomic clocks on airplanes eastward and westward around the world. And when they returned, the clocks disagreed. Each had experienced time differently, just like the twins. And in 2015, NASA gave us a glimpse of something deeper. Astronaut Scott Kelly spent nearly a full year aboard the International Space Station. His twin, Mark, stayed on Earth. When Scott returned, researchers studied them both, their genes, their bodies, their minds. What they found was extraordinary. Not only had Scott's biological processes changed slightly, even his gene expression shifted in space. His time, and his body's experience of it, was different. They had lived the same calendar, but not the same time. There's something quietly emotional about this. The two people, so close, so alike, can carry different versions of the same years. And yet, neither is wrong. Both lives are whole. It reminds you that your time is yours. Your path through it is personal. Even if someone stands beside you every day, you are still carving a unique trail through space-time. Your memories, your pacing, your quiet waiting or sudden changes. They shape how time feels and how it leaves its mark. And if time can stretch between twins, what does that mean for you? Maybe that moments don't need to match to be shared. That you and someone else can live the same day, and it can mean entirely different things. That you might grow older in minutes, while someone else stays still in years. Time is generous like that. It adapts. It lets you age with grace, or pause in motion, or stretch a single glance into something that lasts. And when people come back together, after distance, after speed, after silence, they bring back different versions of now. And that, too, is beautiful. So, as you lie here tonight, consider your own path through time. You're not static. You're not stuck. You're moving. And the universe is noticing. Every breath, every quiet choice, every love you hold close is shaping your journey through this elastic, living thing we call time. And you carry it with you, in your bones, in your dreams, and the gentle ticking of the moments that make you you. But there's more to your journey than clocks and age. Because time doesn't only stretch in the stars. It stretches inside you too. Your very body is a kind of time machine. Let's look inward now to the quiet wonder of the time traveler inside your skin. Close your eyes now and draw your attention inward. Forget the stars. Forget the speed of rockets. Let the vastness shrink until all that's left is you. Your breath, your bones, your beating heart. You don't need to travel galaxies to feel the stretch of time. You're already doing it, quietly, constantly. Because your body is a time machine, not the science fiction kind. No levers, no blinking lights, but something far more elegant. You carry time. You hold it. And every part of you responds to it and shapes it. Let's begin with your cells. Each one is like a clock. They divide in rhythm, repair themselves in cycles. Follow the soft choreography of circadian time. Within them are telomeres, tiny caps on the ends of your chromosomes, like the plastic tips on shoelaces. With each cell division, these tips wear down a slow ticking that marks the aging of your body. Over time, telomeres shorten, and your body listens. The rhythm slows. The repairs aren't quite as sharp. The clock gently begins to wind down. And yet, this process isn't absolute. Sleep, food, stress, love, all of these can shift your biological time. You age in more than one direction. Stress, for example, can speed the clock. It floods your body with signals, tells your cells to burn brighter, faster, and over time, this rush can shorten your life. But peace, a deep breath, a walk in the woods, a gentle evening like this can slow things down again. Your biology hears calm like a lullaby, and time listens. Now move deeper. Inside your brain, neurons fire in rhythm. Alpha waves, theta waves. Each one a pulse, a pattern time measured not by seconds, but by cycles of thought and attention. Have you ever lost yourself in a moment, so immersed that hours vanished in what felt like minutes? Or felt time crawl while waiting, each second stretching like a drawn-out breath? That's your internal time machine, working shifting pace, bending the clock of experience. Because time isn't just measured by watches and calendars. It's also measured by perception. Your brain has a natural tempo, and it can speed up or slow down based on motion, memory, mood. You might remember childhood summers as endless golden days, not because they were longer, but because they were filled with newness. Novelty stretches time. Familiarity compresses it. The first time you fall in love, a moment might feel eternal. But the 100th morning with the same rhythm may pass without a trace. Your time machine responds to meaning. Even your heart is a metronome. Each beat a moment. And it too can slow or race, shifting the soundtrack of your life. Now imagine this. A single strand of DNA inside you is older than the room you're in. It contains echoes from ancestors' instructions written thousands of years ago. In a way, it carries time forward, not memory, but continuity. You are a moving archive of time, a keeper of rhythms, of ancient clocks. And when you sleep, when your eyes close and breath evens, you enter a different mode of time entirely. Sleep is a reset, but it's also a journey. Your body cycles through stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM. Each one marked not by hours, but by oscillations in brainwaves and chemical tides. You fall into sleep not all at once, but like a pebble slipping through silk. And your dreams, they do not follow the same clock as waking life. In dreams, time flows strangely, stretching, skipping, repeating. Minutes in the real world might become hours in your mind. This, too, is your internal time machine at work. Untethered from external cues, it rewrites the rules for a while. You travel every night, not through space, but through temporal states. And still, even as you lie here, your body continues to tick. Tiny mitochondrial rhythms keep your cells alive. Liver enzymes surge and fade. Hormones rise like tides and fall again. You are, in truth, a constellation of clocks. Not all in sync, not all perfect, but working together to make the melody of your being. So, when we say time passes for you, it's not metaphor. It's literal. You shape time with how you move, how you feel, what you remember, what you dream. You're not simply carried by time. You carry it. You mark it. You transform it. And this may be the most human thing of all, to turn time and meaning. You remember. You imagine. You wait. You hold hope. All of these are time's footprints inside you. So, as you rest now, feel this soft truth. You are a time traveler. Not in leaps, but in layers. You live forward. You remember backward. And your body whispers to time in 1,000 different ways. But what about the time that travels to you? What about the starlight, ancient, delicate, that touches your skin tonight? Let's look upward now, to the stars that shine with stories delayed. Let's feel the long patience of time by the light of stars. Step outside for a moment in your imagination. The night is quiet, and the sky is clear. You tilt your head back, and the stars greet you, scattered across the dark like fireflies frozen mid-flight. But what you're seeing isn't now. It's then. Because every star in the sky sends its light across space. And light takes time to travel. What reaches your eyes tonight, that glimmer, that sparkle, may have left its source hundreds, thousands, even millions of years ago. You're not watching stars. You're watching history. Light travels fast, about 300,000 kilometers every second. But the universe is vast beyond imagining. So even though light seems instant, it is always late. The sun's light takes just over 8 minutes to reach you. When you watch a sunset, you're seeing something that already ended. The sun has dipped below the horizon in real time. You're catching the last slow echo of its light. Look at Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. Its light left 8.6 years ago. That star, right now, might be doing something new, or may have faded. But we won't know for years to come, and the farther you look, the older the light becomes. From galaxies millions of light years away, we receive messages carried on stretched waves. Light softened by time and distance arrives, like a letter written in the early morning, opened long after the day is done. This is how the universe tells its story, in delay, in patience. And you, the quiet stargazer on a turning planet, are the reader. Think of the stars not as lights in the sky, but as lighthouses on distant shores. Their beams reach you through oceans of space, and in each one is a tale from long ago. When you look at the Andromeda galaxy, a swirl of stars visible even with the naked eye, you're seeing it as it was 2.5 million years ago. Cave paintings had not yet begun. Humans, as we know them, had not yet arrived. And yet, that light was already on its way. You are part of its destination. There's something profoundly intimate in that. The delight of stars has waited lifetimes to touch your skin, to reach the quiet of your eye, to become a memory. And light, too, is shaped by time. The longer it travels, the more the universe stretches it. A gentle tug called redshift. Waves of light lengthen as the cosmos expands. Colors fade toward the red, eventually beyond red, into invisible radio waves. The farther away a galaxy, the more its light has been redshifted. So we don't just see the past. We see how the past has been stretched. And with every faint shimmer we detect, we learn about the pace of expansion, the age of the universe, the mysterious force pulling galaxies apart. Even darkness has its own light, the cosmic microwave background. a glow faint and cold left over from the birth of the universe. It comes from a time when there were no stars, only light and plasma and potential. And we can still see it. Not with our eyes, but with delicate instruments, eyes for ancient seeds, for it has traveled almost 14 billion years to reach us. We don't just live in time, we are bathed in it. Every ray of starlight is a traveler. Every photon that touches your face has made a journey you cannot fathom, through dust, gravity, through silence, and you, for a fleeting instant, become its destination. Isn't that something? That you could lie back on the grass, breathe slowly, and catch a whisper of ancient light on your cheek? The night sky isn't just a ceiling. It's a library, a living record of what once was. A slow-motion replay of creation unfolding. Even the moon plays this game. When it glows white in the dark, you're seeing it as it was a moment ago, just over 1 second in the past. Not much, but still, not now. So tonight, as you look up, or simply imagine doing so, know that you're not just gazing. You're receiving. You're catching beams that have traveled alone for centuries. And in return, you're sending light too. Your body reflects photons. Your eyes shine. Your campfires glow. And those beams, too, begin their journey outward into someone else's future. Perhaps far away, a being will one day watch our star, our sun, and wonder who lived in its warm light. They'll see Earth as it was, not as it is. And they'll listen to our time. So you are part of this dance, participant in time's long reflection. A mirror held up to the stars. Let this thought rest with you, that even in sleep, you are watched over by light that remembers. And the gravity that holds your planet in orbit, it too bends the path of light. It slows time, curves space, and pulls even moments closer to its heart. What then is the weight of time? Can a mountain slow a second? Can a planet hold back the flow of a moment? Let's fall now, not through space, but into feeling, into the subtle pull that gives every moment its gravity. Let yourself feel heavy now. Not in a burdensome way, but in the way an anchor meets water. A slow sinking into stillness. The kind of weight that quiets everything else. Because weight mass isn't just something you carry. It carries time too. And the heavier something is, the more it pulls on time. This is gravity's secret. You already know gravity as the thing that keeps you here. That brings you back when you jump. That holds oceans in place. That carves the roundness of planets. But it does something even more delicate. It changes time itself. Not in a metaphorical way, not in how waiting feels slow or joy feels fast, but in the actual pace of seconds. Heavier things, like time, move slower. They stretch it gently. Imagine two clocks, one placed high on a mountaintop, the other buried in the valley below. Identical. Perfect. Built to count time with exquisite precision. Leave them alone. Let them tick. Return years later, and you'll find that the one in the valley has ticked fewer times. It has aged less. Why? Because it sat closer to Earth's center of gravity. And gravity slows time. This is not science fiction. This is experiment. Observation. Truth. Satellites account for this every day. Their clocks run faster than ours. And we adjust for that. or else GPS would fail. Maps would drift, and timing would collapse. All because of gravity's slow hand on time's shoulder. Think of a black hole. That strange, silent place where gravity becomes extreme. Near its edge, time itself begins to still. A clock hovering close would tick slower and slower until, from the outside, it would appear to freeze. If you hovered safely above it, you could watch the universe race ahead while your own seconds barely moved. You could witness epochs from a single perch, stars being born, galaxies drifting apart, civilizations rising and fading, all while you aged hardly at all. That's the power of gravity, not just to pull en masse, but to tug softly on the very flow of existence. Now come back to Earth, to your room, your bed, your own body. Here, too, gravity is working. Always. Not just on your bones, but on your time. The gravity beneath your feet is stronger than at the top of your head, which means, in the tiniest way, your head experiences time a bit faster than your toes. You're a gradient of time, a slow slope of seconds from top to bottom. The effect is unimaginably small and bare, but still, it's real. It exists. You carry it. And more than that, you live in a world of layered time. Your city, your planet, your galaxy. Each moves through different flows, different gravity, different curves in space-time. We live our lives as if time is uniform, like a flat, even road. But really, it's a soft terrain, with dips and hills, pulls, and quiet lulls. You feel it in your bones sometimes, don't you? Not the weight of the world, but the weight of moments. Some memories feel heavier than others. Some hours feel anchored. You sense a kind of gravitational pull in the meaningful things, as if time thickens around emotion and loosens around repetition. That feeling may not be scientific, but perhaps it echoes the truth that some moments have gravity, not mass, but meaning. And meaning holds you, like a mountain holds a cloud, like a planet holds a moon. Your body, too, has its own gravity, not enough to bend time noticeably, but enough to pull. Atoms feel it. Molecules respond. Your presence is not passive. You are not merely in the flow of time. You shape it. You resist it. You soften it. Even your breath pushes gently against the air. Even your dreams move the brain's chemistry. Even your thoughts carry weight. So rest in that truth. You are part of this enormous invisible ballet, a constant pull and pause, a soft warping of what we call now. And maybe this is why we long to mark our moments, with photographs, with words, with memory, to anchor time, to give it base, to make it feel real, held, carried. So tonight, as you drift, feel the gravity of this moment. Not heavy, but rooted. Your bed holds you. The earth spins beneath you. The stars arc overhead. And all of it, every ounce of mass, shapes the seconds around you. You're wrapped in time that curves. You're not separate from it. You're cradled by it. But there is someone else who feels time differently, too. Someone who floats far above us, where Earth's pull is weak, where speed and gravity shape their sleep. Let's join her now, far beyond the clouds, to hear the quiet rhythm of the astronaut's secret sleep. Far above the rooftops, beyond the rain, past the thinning air and the blue curve of atmosphere. And she floats, not falling, not flying, but orbiting. The astronaut moves fast, roughly 28,000 kilometers per h. Faster than sound, faster than dawn. She circles the Earth every 90 minutes. 16 sunrises a day. 16 sunsets too. But right now, she's asleep, weightless, quiet, drifting in a small cocoon of humming machinery and soft lights. Velcro holds her blanket to the wall. Her breath forms tiny clouds that vanish in silence. She doesn't feel the speed. There is no wind, no motion in the traditional sense, just stillness in motion. And something else too. Up here, time runs a little differently. Not so much that she notices, not enough to wake her, but enough that her sleep, her dreams, are happening just slightly slower than yours. This is time dilation in orbit, a combination of speed and distance from Earth's gravity. It bends her time, like sunlight bends through water. Her clock ticks more slowly, by mere milliseconds, but real ones. While she sleeps, the people she loves on Earth age a bit more than she does. They shift slightly ahead in time. If she stayed up here long enough, years, decades, she'd return younger than her twin, her friends, the world below, and all because of sleep in motion. Now imagine her dreams. She's thinking of oceans, of her childhood bed, of the sound of leaves in the wind. But these dreams are floating through a space-time that is curved, quietly stretched by her orbit. She does not feel it. Her body hums in rhythm with the station, with the stars, with the soft pull of Earth beneath her. But her cells feel it. Her blood flows differently. Her bones lose density. Her muscles rest uneasily, confused by the absence of weight. Even her brain, that tireless organ, restructures its sense of space, of balance, of sleep. Astronauts experience changes in circadian rhythms. Their inner clocks are nudged by artificial light, by rapid sunrises, by the motionless floating of their bodies. So her sleep is never quite like yours. It is a strange, beautiful drift through a time that isn't yours. And while she dreams, Earth moves beneath her. Cities sleep, rivers run, voices rise and fade. From her small window, she sees entire continents and the space between one breath and the next. She watches lightning storms from above. She sees the auroras curl across the poles. She gazes at the stars, and they do not twinkle. Not from here. In space, the atmosphere no longer flickers the light. Starlight is steady, sharp, honest. She sees what you cannot, because of where she sleeps, because of how she moves, because of the time she inhabits. Now consider her heartbeat. It slows in sleep, just like yours. But every beat happens a fraction behind yours. Not because she's dreaming something different, but because the rules around her have shifted. Time bends for her, ever so slightly. Our biological clock, that internal rhythm of temperature, hormones, and mood, it has adjusted. She's on mission time now, a schedule made by humans to approximate Earth's flow, in a place where Earth's flow no longer rules. It's a simulation of gravity, of day, of night. But even simulations can't undo the truth that her seconds are not your seconds. And yet, her life continues. She laughs. She works. She misses home. She drinks coffee from a sealed pouch. And when she wakes, She floats upward instead of sitting up. She begins her day in a time just slightly behind yours. Isn't that beautiful? That someone, right now, could be living seconds that are slower? That her every motion is being gently extended by the very laws of the universe. And yet, she doesn't feel behind. To her, all is normal. This is the magic of relativity. That time feels the same within your own frame. Only when compared do the differences appear. It makes you wonder how much of your own time has bent without you ever knowing. Maybe that long afternoon, where time stood still, wasn't just your mood. Maybe, on some small scale, you were living in slower seconds. And maybe that sleepless night, where the hours slipped away, was time accelerating under your skin. Your body, too, is in motion. Earth spins. It orbits. It wobbles slightly, drawn by the moon. So you are never still. And every moment you sleep through a cosmos that curves your time in subtle ways. So, as you lie here now, eyes closed, wrapped in blankets instead of stars, know that you are not so far from the astronaut. You too are in orbit. And your time, though you feel it as steady, is always moving differently from someone else's. So many timelines, all overlapping, all real. And perhaps that is the comfort of sleep, to let go of counting, to surrender to the drift. Because whether you're in space or in your own room, sleep is where you let the universe turn its pages without resistance. Let her sleep above you now. Let yourself sleep below. And know that between you, time is stretching like a ribbon between stars. But what is the present, really? What does now mean when every moment is moving, every frame slightly different? Let's float into that question next, into the illusion of now. Take a breath and feel this moment. Right now, a soft inhale. The air cools your chest. You hear a faint sound, see a flicker of light or color. This is your now. Simple, clear, familiar. But what if I told you it doesn't really exist, not the way you think? Because now, that fragile instant between past and future, is not a universal truth. It is a local one, a personal one. In physics, there is no single now that everyone, everywhere, shares. No clock in the sky, no master timeline that ticks for all things at once. Instead, time is a layer cake of experience. What is happening for you right now may already be over for someone far away, or may not have happened yet at all. Let's go deeper. Imagine two people moving past each other in space, each carrying their own perfect clock. As they glide past one another, they both agree on one thing, that they're seeing each other now. But if they each look farther, at distant stars, at blinking beacons, they'll disagree about what's happening right now at those far-off places. Because simultaneity, the idea that two events happen at the same time, is relative. It depends on where you are and how you move. There is no single global now. This is hard to grasp. Your brain wasn't built to live in space-time. It was built to keep you safe, to react to danger, to remember where the berries grow. So it knits time into a clean line that says, this happened, then this, and this, and it places you always in the middle. But time isn't a straight path, and now is not a pin on a map. It's a region, a smudge, a soft blur between perspectives, and you live inside that blur. When you look at a star 1,000 light years away, you're seeing it as it was 1,000 years ago. That star's now is long past to you. But what if someone was standing beside that star, looking at Earth? They'd see you, not as you are now, but as you were 1,000 years ago, before you were even born, before your parents, or their parents. Your now isn't theirs. And yet, from your point of view, you're both existing at the same time. This is the illusion that we share a single present, that all things happen in one great instant. But the universe doesn't play by that rule. The speed of light is the limit. No information travels faster. And so, the farther things are, the older their story becomes to you. Every glance into the sky is a time machine. You're not seeing the stars as they are, but as they were. And they see you the same way. This doesn't just happen on cosmic scales. Even here on Earth, the time it takes for light to move means that your experience of now is always a little delayed. You're not seeing the world in real time. You're seeing it in slightly old light. Nanoseconds here, microseconds there. Tiny delays layered onto everything you know. And still, your brain weaves it all together into one seamless now, like a conductor pulling scattered musicians into a single song. Even your senses take time. It takes about 200 milliseconds from the moment something touches your skin to when your brain processes the sensation. So even your own body is a history lesson, a gentle lag, a thoughtful delay, and yet it feels instant. This is the beauty of perception. It edits, it aligns, it gives you a smooth story, so you don't have to feel the noise beneath. But the universe remembers the noise. And in its memory, now is a shifting thing, a slope that changes with speed, with gravity, with distance. Some physicists even wonder if time is not fundamental at all. If it is emergent, like temperature, like sound, a thing that rises out of movement, but doesn't exist on its own. And if that's true, then now is only ever an agreement, a temporary stitching of sensation into something useful. You are the seamstress. You thread moments together, call it a timeline, and place yourself within it. But outside your frame, there are countless other threads, other nows, other dreams unfolding just out of sync. So tonight, as you rest, consider the gentleness of your illusion. Let it comfort you. You don't need the whole universe to agree with your now. You only need this breath, this heartbeat, this moment of listening. Because this moment, whatever it truly is yours. It may not be universal, but it is real. It is where you feel, where you remember, where you drift towards sleep. Let time scatter its truths beyond your reach. Let now dissolve into something softer. And as it does, notice how the colors of the universe shift, how the light stretches, fades, red shifts into silence. Let's follow that light now into the slow unfolding of the stretching of light. You've seen light all your life. Sunlight on water, moonlight on your pillow, the hush of morning spilling through curtains. But light is not just illumination. It is motion. It is memory, and it can stretch. You don't see it stretch, not with your eyes, not in the moment, but the universe does. Because as light travels, especially across great distances, it changes. It begins fast and bright, a short, tight wave full of energy. But the longer it moves, the more the universe pulls on it. Not roughly, not like a rope being yanked, more like dough, slowly kneaded by the expanding fabric of space. This is redshift, a light wave that begins blue, short, sharp, awake, gradually lengthens. Its color fades toward red, then deeper, beyond what we can see, into infrared, into microwave, into radio. The farther it travels, the more it stretches. This is not because the light is tired, but because the universe is growing. Space itself is expanding, like the surface of a balloon being slowly blown up. Galaxies aren't flying away from us through space. They are being carried with it. The space between us and them is getting bigger. So the light they send has to cross more and more distance. And as it does, it stretches. It ages. This is why, when we look into the depths of the sky, we are looking back in time. The light from nearby stars, still young, blue, white, confident. But the light from far-off galaxies is redder, gentler, changed. Not just because of distance, but because of time itself being pulled thin. Now imagine the early at light, the glow from when the universe was just a baby. Not stars yet. Not planets. Just hot plasma cooling into something new. That light still exists. Still moves. Still stretches. We call it the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light we can see. It is everywhere, soft and faint, like an ancient lullaby, still echoing across the nursery of space. It began as something fierce, blazing, blinding, blue-hot. But now it's cold, barely 2.7 degrees above absolute zero, stretched over 13.8 billion years into a gentle hum. You can feel its echo in old television static and precise instruments that listen to the silence of space. This light, once a burst, is now a breath, a long, slow exhale of time itself. Even starlight, even the golden light of dawn, has its origin in motion. A star burns. Photons rise from deep within. They dance through layers of plasma, through gravity's slow embrace, through space and time, and the journey bends them. A photon from the sun takes tens of thousands of years to travel from the core to the surface, then only 8 minutes to reach your skin. So, when sunlight warms your face, you're being touched by something ancient, something that waited. And all of it, from solar flares to distant galaxies, is shaped by stretching. Like sound becomes lower as it moves away, light becomes redder, slower in wave, but not in speed. Because light always travels at the same pace, constant, pure. What changes is the space it crosses. And as space grows, so does the light. So imagine now a single photon, born in the bright flare of a galaxy's birth. It begins its journey, crossing millions of light years. It passes dust, dips around gravity wells, bends through the curve of space-time. By the time it touches your telescope or brushes your eye, it is no longer what it was. It has stretched. It has changed. It carries the story of the journey with it, like a letter worn thin from too many hands. And you, the reader, can only guess at the hand that first wrote it. This is the poetry of redshift. That color becomes time. That motion becomes memory. And you live inside this light. You walk through its layers, You're made of its echoes. Even your own body glows faintly in infrared. You're a source of stretched light, a quiet torch in the dark. So tonight, as you close your eyes, feel that glow within you, the heat of your skin, the softness of your breath. All of it sends light into the world. All of it becomes part of time's journey. And when you dream, your brain flickers, your neurons spark, and deep within, tiny waves stretch outward, carrying your life, your warmth, your rhythm. You're not just a watcher of redshift. You're part of it. A moving source, a traveling light. And that light may one day stretch across space, reaching, fading, until someone or something far away feels its warmth. The universe is not still. It breathes. It expands. It pulls even light apart in its quiet drift. And in that breath, in that stretch, a new map emerges, not of stars, but of time itself. A map without a present, without a now, only paths, only light. Let's unfold that map together next and discover what it means to travel through a universe with no single present at all. Close your eyes and imagine a map. Not a flat sheet with roads and borders, but a map of time, not drawn in ink, but in gravity and motion and light. It doesn't have a compass. It doesn't need one, because in this universe, there is no true up, no absolute center, and no global present. This is the map of space-time, a four-dimensional landscape, 3 for space, 1 for time, woven together into something strange and silent. You don't see this map when you look around. You feel it. Every time you fall, every time you wait, every time you wonder where the time went. This map isn't printed. It's lived. You exist not on a line, but on a curve, a soft, bending slope through time. And what you call now, that immediate, present moment, is not a shared point on the map. It's more like a location on your personal trail, yours alone. Because in the universe, as physics understands it, there is no single moment that applies to everything, everywhere. Every object, every person, every photon has its own clock, its own time, its own thread. When you walk through space, you're also walking through time. You carve a path. That path, your personal history, is real. And so are others. Imagine all of time, from the beginning of the universe to its eventual fade, existing at once, not as moments passing, but as a totality, a completed tapestry, verse. An idea in physics that suggests past, present, and future all coexist. That time doesn't flow. We do. From this perspective, the future is already there, just waiting for us to arrive. And the past is not gone. It's simply elsewhere in the structure. You, in this moment, are a point along your path. You feel motion, but it is your consciousness sliding along a curve that already exists. It's hard to grasp. We are creatures of sequence. We believe in cause and effect. We think in minutes and hours. We live in stories with beginnings and ends. But what if the story is already written? What if free will is simply the experience of moving through pages that always existed? Or what if the story is still being written as you move forward, ink drying as your feet pass over it? The truth may lie somewhere in between. The map exists, but your path is not fixed. You respond to forces, to choices, to chance, and as you move, the shape of your trail shifts. You are both traveler and cartographer, both explorer and mapmaker. And this explains something else too. Why memories feel solid, but the future feels like mist. Because your path behind you is a well-worn groove. Your brain has laid the tracks. Your heart has measured the pace. But ahead is possibility. The map may exist in full, but which direction you take through it is still uncertain. Even in physics, the future holds probabilities, things not yet measured, paths not yet chosen. Quantum mechanics tells us that particles can exist in many states at once, until observed. Maybe your future is the same, a collection of shadows, waiting for light. And as you move through space-time, you collapse those shadows into the sharp outline of a moment. That outline becomes now. And then was. It's strange to think that you might already exist in the future, that an older version of you is sitting somewhere on the map, remembering this moment. But in some sense, that's what this model suggests. Not that you can jump ahead, but that all points exist, and you're unfolding through them. Even light, the purest traveler of the cosmos, follows this map. It always takes the path of least time, a principle known as Fermat's principle, as if it knows where it's going, as if the map whispers to it, "This is the way," and your body does the same. You move through space in a way that minimizes effort, follows curves laid by gravity and time. You don't notice it, but your feet, your eyes, your breath, all ride the contours of this map. Every moment is a coordinate, every memory a mile marker, every feeling a landmark only you can name. So rest now, knowing you are not lost. Even when the future feels far, even when the past feels heavy, you're still on the map, still tracing your thread through the quiet lattice of space-time. And while there may be no universal now, there is your now. And that is enough. That is real. But as you pause here, consider this. If motion shapes your path, and gravity bends your trail, then what happens when you stop? What happens when you wait? Let's stand still in the next chapter. Let's listen closely to what the universe does while you wait. And it continues to move. You are waiting, maybe for sleep, maybe for something deeper, or maybe for nothing at all. Just resting in this stillness, letting your thoughts soften like petals folding in the dark. But even when you wait, you're not still. Even as your body lies quiet, your cells are busy. Your heart beats a quiet rhythm, and the earth beneath you spins. At the equator, you're moving faster than a jet, over 1 kilometer per hour. And yet, you feel no wind, no pull, only stillness. Above you, the moon arcs slowly, tugging softly on oceans and on the fluids inside your own body. It pulls with no sound, no sensation, just patience. And the earth, she is orbiting the sun at nearly 30 kilometers per hour. Each moment you wait, you're being carried across an enormous ellipse of motion. It does not feel like travel, but it is. Your waiting is movement. Your stillness is layered on 1,000 other motions you do not see. Even the solar system itself is spinning gently through the galaxy, like a leaf carried by a wide, dark river. And our galaxy, it's moving too, towards something, away from something else, caught in the drift of invisible forces. we do not yet understand. All while you wait. Even time itself, that silent presence, is shifting under your feet. Because waiting stretches it. Have you ever noticed that time feels longer when you are waiting for something to begin? A phone call, a message, a decision, a door to open, the minutes expand, as though they are reluctant to arrive, as though they are unsure if they want to be the ones to carry you forward. That's perception, yes. But there's something more. Because when you wait, you become acutely aware of time's texture. You notice the shape of a second. You feel the distance between two ticks of a clock. And in that noticing, you become a witness to motion that is otherwise invisible. The flicker of a candle, the cooling of your skin, the quiet shifting of the air. Waiting makes you sensitive to the choreography of all things moving around you. So perhaps waiting is not absence. Perhaps it is attunement, a way to listen to the breathing of the universe. You wait, and stars rotate. You wait, and particles decay. You wait. And somewhere, light from an ancient galaxy finally touches a telescope's lens. Your patience becomes part of the cosmic rhythm. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are simply aligned with a slower note in the song. Sometimes, the most profound changes happen during the wait. A volcano rests for centuries before reshaping the land a single day. A glacier, moving millimeters each year, carves out a valley that will cradle rivers in life. Waiting is not nothing. It is a gesture of trust that the universe is working, even when you cannot see it. And perhaps the same is true within you. When you rest, you're not frozen. Your memories are being sorted. Your muscles repaired. Your spirit eased. You are like a seed in the quiet before spring, not growing visibly, but storing what will become motion, energy, renewal. And this waiting you feel now, this gentle pause, is just one still point in a world that never stops. Even the atoms in your body are not still. They vibrate. They hum. They drift slightly, responding to temperature, to breath, to thought. In the time they move within, it is curved. It has weight. It has shape. So you may think you are simply lying here in a quiet room, doing nothing. But in truth, you're dancing with galaxies. You're aging at a slightly different pace than the trees. You're falling gently through curved space alongside every particle, every moon, every beam of starlight. Waiting is motion, just not the kind we usually measure. It is motion within the self, a shifting of perspective, a soft leaning into what comes next. And what comes next always arrives. You cannot stop time, but you can feel its folds. You can rest in its hands and know that it is carrying you, even when you feel you have paused. So tonight, as you wait for sleep, know this: you're not idle. You're not behind. You're held in the quiet turning of the cosmos. And time, always in motion, is already bringing you closer to something new. But what if you weren't just writing time? What if you were moving through it at a different speed than someone else and never noticed? What if you were already a time traveler? Let's follow that thought into the quiet possibility that maybe you already are. You're already doing it. You're traveling through time, not with a machine, not with flashing lights or spinning dials, but with breath, with blinking, with sleep and waking. Each second, you're moving forward, carried gently by the flow of moments. You don't need to steer. And this is time travel, not the kind written in novels or carved into cinema, not leaps into the past or somersaults into the future, but something softer, something real. You're always leaving behind versions of yourself. The person who woke up this morning, they're already in the past. The one who will dream tonight, they're just ahead. You live in between, not stuck, but unfolding. It's easy to imagine time travel as a grand event, a leap, a glitch in the laws of nature. But in truth, it's already here, woven into the rules that shape everything. You've learned now that motion bends time, that gravity slows it, that clocks don't always agree. So what happens when someone walks beside you, but lives in a slightly different flow? What if the person across from you, in the train, in the elevator, in the mirror, is by a tiny fraction a different age than they were the moment before? They are. And so are you. Tiny differences, so small we can't sense them, shape the way we each move through time. An astronaut returns home, younger than her twin. A particle lives longer because it moves faster. A satellite floats above Earth, and time nudges forward, just a bit more slowly for it. We call this dilation. But it might just be drifting. And you drift too. Maybe time travel doesn't require machines, only awareness, only attention to how different every moment really is. You walk into a room and leave part of yourself in the doorway, not because you forgot anything, but because memory and motion never quite happen together. There is no exact moment. You become who you are. It's a gradient, like sky into sea, like dusk into night. You step out of a conversation, changed. You close a book and find your thoughts are half a second ahead of your body. You wake up and realize yesterday's version of you wouldn't recognize this morning's mood. That's time travel too. You're moving through possibilities that close behind you and open before you with every breath. And here's the stranger part. Others are doing it too. But not always with you. Their clocks tick in sync with their motion, not yours. The faster they move, the more their now drifts from yours. Two people at the same place in the same second may not share the same now. If you stood perfectly still and someone else walked away from you, faster and faster, you would each begin to inhabit slightly different versions of the present. You wouldn't notice, neither would they. But one day, if you compared your watches, you'd find they'd slipped apart, even just a breath. So in that breath, where were you? You were ahead or behind, depending on who asked. That's the truth hidden in relativity. That time is not one thing. It is a patchwork, and we each wear a different piece. So maybe you've already traveled through time more times than you know, not just forward, but sideways, into other perspectives, into memories others no longer share. Have you ever remembered something so vividly it returned like weather? A smell, a sound, a street that opened into a lost year? That was time travel too. Your mind reached back, and for a moment, you lived again in a different frame. And when you came back to this breath, this room, something was different. Even imagination can move through time. You picture the future, and in that image, you touch something not yet born. You send letters to tomorrow with the choices you make today. You're always reaching forward with invisible hands. Sometimes you call it hope, or planning, or fear, but it's just another form of time travel. Because what is travel if not changing where and when you are? Now imagine this. Someone else is thinking of you right now, across the world, maybe across a room, maybe across decades. Their memory of you places you in a different moment. You live there still, in their mind. They're traveling to you, not physically, but in time. Memory makes the past present, and anticipation folds the future into the now. So, you are being visited by many versions of time every day. You exist in more timelines than you realize. Some have already ended. Some are just beginning. Some are paused, waiting for you to return. And when you fall asleep tonight, your mind may take you somewhere else again. Not just in dream, but in time. Because dream time is its own stream. It flows outside the usual pace, bends around logic, and lets you live hours and minutes. The dreamer is always a traveler. So, yes, you're already a time traveler. Not by building machines, but by being alive, by remembering, imagining, waiting, changing. You're moving through a medium you can't touch, but can shape. And maybe that's the gentlest truth of all, that time travel isn't about going somewhere else. It's about noticing that you've never truly stayed in one place. Not in your mind, not in your body, not in your seconds. So rest easy now, knowing that time carries you, and that every breath you take arrives from a different edge of the same gentle river. But you are not the only one who holds time. The trees do too, in rings of silence and slow circles of memory that stretch through centuries. Let's walk into their stillness next and listen to the time hidden in trees. Somewhere nearby, or far away, in a forest you've never walked, a tree stands. Its branches twist gently skyward. Its roots reach into the dark, listening to the soil. It does not move, but it is not motionless. It grows slowly, deliberately, through storms, through seasons, through decades. And inside its quiet trunk, it carries time. You may have seen this before, a tree cut crosswise, revealing a pattern of concentric circles. Each ring a year. But those rings are not just markers of time. They are time made visible, time captured in wood. Each ring tells the story of a single year. The width of it speaks of the season. A wide ring means a warm spring, plenty of water, good sunlight. A narrow ring whispers of drought, of cold days, or hard winters. The tree does not write in language. It writes in layers. It remembers without remembering, not in thoughts, but in form. So when you run your finger across a fallen trunk, you're not just touching wood. You're tracing the timeline of life. Decades, sometimes centuries, sometimes more. And unlike human time, tree time is patient. Where we rush, they wait. Where we plan, they respond, where we count days, they count cycles of leaf and sun, of ice and thaw. They live slowly because they can. Their slowness is not delay, it is wisdom. Now imagine this. A seed falls into soil. It waits, sometimes for a season, sometimes for years, waiting for warmth, waiting for the right kind of rain. And then it begins. A quiet push downward, a root, a stretch upward, a stem. And from that moment, time begins to gather in the body of the tree. Every cell added is a memory, every ring a conversation with the climate. The bark thickens like a book binding itself. And year after year, the tree builds a story of where it is, what it has endured, and how it has grown. Now imagine a grove of trees, each one with a different number of rings, each one telling a slightly different story of the same world. You walk through it, like walking through a living archive, a natural library of time. In some trees, the rings spiral gently. In others, they warp, bent by wind, scarred by fire, stretched by the leaning light. Time here is not symmetrical, but it is honest. Even what the tree has lost, a broken limb, a scar from lightning, is recorded in its body. There is no erasure, only remembrance. And perhaps that's something we can learn from them. That time doesn't have to be fast to be meaningful. That a life does not need constant motion to be full. You're told to hurry, to do more, to move faster. But the tree says, grow slowly. Let the world change you in rings. And you do, don't you? You grow in seasons, even if they aren't visible. There are times you expand, stretching toward possibility, and times you narrow inward, holding close. Your body may not show rings, but your spirit carries them. Every loss, every joy, every turning point, they leave marks. And perhaps you, too, are spiraling gently through the years. Now, let's step deeper into the forest. The air is cooler. The light flickers through leaves, and time feels slower. This is because trees absorb time, not literally, but emotionally, psychologically. Studies show that being among trees changes the way we experience time. It calms us, lengthens our attention, makes moments feel fuller. We call it forest bathing. But it is really a kind of time travel, a soft return to a rhythm older than our clocks. The tree doesn't know your deadlines. It doesn't care about your plans. It only knows this: sunlight, moisture, time. And in return, it offers shade, fruit, air. The oxygen you breathe tonight may have passed through the green mouth of a leaf, still reaching for stars. And the breath you exhale now might feed a forest you'll never see. This, too, is time, interwoven, reciprocal, rooted. So when you next feel rushed or hollowed by the pace of life, remember the tree. Tree. Remember that you, too, can hold time gently, that you are not late, you are not behind, you are growing in rings that no one else can see. And sometimes, the most important moments are the quiet ones, when nothing seems to change. But you are deepening. But trees are not the only quiet timekeepers. Far below them, beyond root and soil, another kind of memory is being written, layer by patient layer. Let's drift downward now, to the silent silt that gathers on the ocean floor. Imagine sinking gently beneath the sea. not falling, just drifting. The light grows blue, then green, then gray, then gone, all around you. Water moves without edges. No footsteps, no clocks, just currents, soft and slow, carrying time like silk through shadow. You pass through layers of life, schools of fish, tangles of kelp, the occasional flicker of bioluminescence, like stars that got lost underwater. And still you drift down, down into the stillness, until at last you land on the ocean floor. It's quiet here, too quiet for sound, too heavy for movement. This is not the absence of life. It is the presence of deep time. Beneath your hands is soft sediment, built grain by grain, for the long, slow work of the world above. Here, time is not told. It is settled. It sinks. Each speck of dust, each flake of dead plankton, each tiny particle of ash from some distant volcano, all of it drifts downward over centuries. It lands without sound and becomes part of the next layer. One layer for this season, another for this decade, another for an extinction event that happened before there were eyes to see it. These layers are the ocean's memory, not like a diary, but like pages in a stone book, too patient to be read aloud. Scientists can core deep into the seafloor and pull up long, slender columns of mud. And in those cores are stories of climate, of species, of ice and fire, of silence and bloom. You can see the line where a meteor struck, where the dinosaurs fell, where a bloom of tiny creatures covered the sea in white chalk, where the earth warmed, then cooled, then warmed again. Each layer a quiet testimony. We were here. This happened. Remember. But the ocean floor is not in a hurry. It takes centuries to grow a single centimeter of sediment. Time here is not a stream. It is a snowfall that never melts, and unlike the atmosphere, the ocean remembers. Air forgets. It mixes, moves, blows away. But water holds, and the bottom holds longest of all. Even your breath, the carbon dioxide you exhale, will eventually find its way into the sea, and then into sediment, and perhaps one day into stone, a fossilized whisper from your lungs. Isn't that strange? That you, lying quietly in your bed tonight, might be part of a future layer. On the ocean floor, the deep sea holds more than sediment. It holds mystery. There are creatures there who have not changed in millions of years, living fossils whose clocks tick slowly, if they tick at all. Some jellyfish down here do not age in the way we understand. They pulse, they feed, they collapse, then start over. They are not eternal, but their time is circular. Like the tree, like the tide. Even volcanoes sleep down here. Entire ranges of mountains will never climb. They build, erupt, crumble, all beneath the surface, all beneath our knowing. And when they erupt, they layer the floor again. Ash falls, glass cools, new stone forms, and the sediment resumes its work, patient, unafraid. There's something comforting in that even when we forget, something remembers, something records, not to judge, but simply to hold. And so, the ocean floor becomes the deepest archive, a soft foundation beneath all change. And you, though far above it, are part of that story. Your ancestors crossed these waters. The winds they felt, the storms they survived, all left traces here. And long after your name is forgotten, your atoms may still drift downward, one grain at a time, into memory. There is peace in this, a sense of continuity, that nothing is truly lost, only transformed, layer by layer. Even your thoughts, which feel so thin and passing, might someday shape the world that settles above the floor. Ideas ripple, choices settle. Everything leaves something behind. So next time you walk along a shore, think of the silence beneath your feet, the cities of sediment, the unhurried calendar of mud. And think, too, of the stars above the ocean, because starlight touches the surface and travels downward, fading, but not disappearing. Photons can reach farther than we imagine, just like time. And deep below, the ocean cradles them, even the faintest ones, like it cradles everything else. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, let the ocean floor be your metaphor. Let your thoughts settle. Let time be slow. Let stillness be enough. Because even in stillness, you are layered with time. But there are clocks, even more precise, more consistent than tree rings or layers of silt. Clocks that live inside atoms, unmoving, unchanging. And they shape the seconds that shape our world. Let's open one next and listen to the pulse of atomic time. You don't hear it. You don't feel it. But all around you and within you, time is ticking with exquisite precision, not from the hands of a wristwatch or the shifting shadows of the sun, but from something much smaller, much steadier: atoms. At the heart of timekeeping in the modern world is a tiny vibration, a pulse so consistent, so unimaginably regular, that it defines what a second is. This is atomic time, not metaphor, not poetry, but physics with a beauty all its own. The best clocks in the world today are atomic clocks. They don't count gears. They don't watch the sky. They listen to the hum of electrons jumping between energy levels inside atoms, most often cesium or rubidium. These jumps, these tiny quantum movements, happen at a precise, predictable frequency. For cesium, 133, that frequency is 9,192,631,770 vibrations per second. Not roughly, not approximately, exactly. This is not just a good clock. This is the clock. It defines the second. So when you look at the digital time glowing beside your bed, or rely on GPS to guide you through city streets, or wait for a rocket to launch, you're leaning on these invisible pulses. Atomic clocks keep satellites in sync. They coordinate global trade. They monitor tectonic shifts. They guide spacecraft across the solar system. They are the metronomes of a civilization built on timing. But why atoms? Because they don't forget. While the sun rises later in winter, while pendulums slow with friction, while sand shifts unpredictably, atoms remain loyal. Their energy changes, tiny as they are, follow quantum rules that never drift. So when you measure the time between those shifts, you get a rhythm that can be trusted across oceans, across generations. And these rhythms have led us to redefine time itself. For centuries, we used the Earth's rotation to track time. A day was one turn. A year was one orbit around the sun. But the Earth is not a perfect clock. It wobbles. It slows. It shivers. During earthquakes, its oceans tug on it. Its winds shift its pace. So we looked inward, smaller, steadier. And there, in the realm of atoms, we found a timekeeper that did not waver. It's a strange thought, that a second is not something natural. It is chosen, defined, agreed upon, based on a tiny invisible dance that happens countless times each moment, inside atoms you will never touch, but live your whole life in rhythm with. You eat, sleep, speak, write, pause, all in a framework built on the pulse of something smaller than dust. And yet, it's not just about precision. It's about connection. Because when you align your clocks with atoms, you align them with the universe. These pulses, these tiny beats, are the same across galaxies. If you found a cesium atom in a distant star system, its rhythm would match ours. Its seconds would be the same. Atomic time is universal time, not because it governs everything, but because it listens only to the fabric of reality. And that fabric is consistent. But here's the twist. Even atomic clocks experience time dilation. If you fly one high into orbit, it ticks faster than its twin on Earth. If you place one deep underground, it ticks slower. Even these perfect clocks are subject to space-time's bending. So while they define a second, they cannot escape the strange, flexible truth of time. And yet they endure, because even bent, even stretched, their rhythm can be measured. And from that, we build our world. You walk through cities that pulse with synchronized traffic lights. You send messages that arrive in microseconds. You live in a global heartbeat, measured in cesium. And most of the time, you never notice. But your body does. Your biology has its own clocks. Not atomic, but rhythmic. Your heart, your breath, your sleep. All of them dance to patterns built from evolution. Loops of sunrise, echoes of moonlight, drifts of temperature. You may not tick like cesium, but you tick. You too are a timekeeper. And your rhythm shapes your thoughts, your feelings, even your health. When your inner clock drifts from the world's, jet lag, insomnia, overwork, you feel it. Not just in tired eyes, but in your sense of self. Because to be human is to live between clocks, the atomic and the emotional, the mechanical and the biological. You don't need to choose between them. They are both true. The second that rules your devices and the moment that lingers in your chest are both part of the same fabric. So tonight, as you fall into rest, know that even sleep is part of the rhythm. Even dreaming ticks in time. Seconds pass, measured by atoms you cannot name, while your thoughts drift far beyond them. And tomorrow, when you wake, the world will welcome you back at precisely the right time. But not every creature ticks like you do. To some, a second is a lifetime. To others, an hour is barely a blink. Let's wander next into the quiet world of animal time, where wings blur and slow hearts drift through oceans. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine you're watching the world from the eyes of another creature. Not as yourself, but as something smaller or something much, much larger. Imagine you're a hummingbird. Your wings beat 70 times per second. You hover in place like a thought suspended. Your heart thunders, at over 1,200 beats per minute, a rhythm so quick the world around you seems to move in slow motion. A drop of nectar lasts a day. A single flower holds your entire focus. You live fast, you burn bright, and your time feels full. Now imagine you're a whale, slow, enormous, cradled by the weight of the sea. Your heart beats once every 10 seconds. You glide for minutes between breaths. The ocean moves with you, and you listen to sounds that may take hours to arrive from hundreds of kilometers away. To the hummingbird, a second is an eternity. To the whale, it's barely begun. This is the dream time of animals, not a fantasy, but a real difference in how time is lived, felt, measured. Every animal has its own inner clock, and that clock is shaped by size, by speed, by biology. It's called temporal resolution, the rate at which an animal's brain processes sensory information. In simple terms, how many moments they can notice in 1 second. To you, a flickering light might seem steady, but to a fly, it pulses like a strobe. Each flash is visible, each blink of your hand, slow motion gesture. To a fly, you move like a glacier. Their perception is faster, their reflex is sharper, but their lives are so short, measured in days or weeks. And yet, to them, that time is full. It's not short, it's enough. Now return to yourself, your rhythm, your perception. Humans fall somewhere in the middle. You blink. You breathe. You speak in syllables per second. You live a few decades and call it a lifetime. But lifetimes are not all the same, because time is not just about length. It's about density. A mayfly lives for only 24 hours. But in that span, it hatches, flies, mates, dies. Its cycle, complete. It doesn't mourn the decades it never had. It doesn't ask why. It simply lives. And a tortoise may live over 150 years. It moves slowly, eats slowly, sees change happen, one patient season at a time. Neither life is better. Neither is less or more full. Each is shaped by its rhythm. Even dreaming varies. Cats dream in rapid bursts, twitching, paws flicking, running in their sleep. Elephants dream more slowly, with long phases of deep stillness. They lie down only occasionally. Their rest is careful, protective. Birds can sleep with half their brain at a time, one eye open, one hemisphere awake. Sleep, too, moves with the clock of the creature. You share a world with beings who live in different time bubbles. To your dog, you leaving the house for a few hours might feel like days. To a migrating bird, a day might carry it halfway across a continent. To a cicada, time is silent underground for 13, sometimes 17 years. Then, an explosion of sound, flight, mating, and silence again. There is no universal pace. Each species walks its own spiral through the seasons. Even plants move with time, not just by growing, but by opening, closing, turning toward light, responding to temperature, pulsing with hidden circadian rhythms. If you filmed a forest and played it fast, you'd see plants breathing, stretching, reaching, reacting. Their time is too slow to notice, unless you learn how to wait. And perhaps that's what animals teach us, to respect the variety of clocks, to understand that what seems fast or slow is only a comparison to your own rhythm. You measure time in years, but an insect measures in instants, a coral reef in centuries. And yet, all of you exist together, right now, in shared space, but staggered time, a mosaic of motion, a symphony of tempos. Even your own life is made of changing rhythms. Your heartbeat as a child was faster. Your summers felt longer. Your days felt brighter. Now, time may seem to speed up, but only because your perception has shifted. Then you compress more. You skip over the familiar. Time hasn't changed. You have. And so, the dream time of animals is not just out there, but in you. In your memories, in your aging, in your shifting awareness of what lasts and what passes. You can learn to listen, to sync with the slow, to pause when the world moves too quickly. Let the tortoise teach you patience. Let the hummingbird teach you presence. Let the whale teach you depth. Because you, too, are a creature with a clock. And your time, though it may seem ordinary, is wild and strange when viewed from the outside. You are blinking, breathing, thinking. A firefly in the dark, flashing briefly, but filled with light. So rest now, knowing that time is never fixed. It is felt. And you are free to feel it at your own pace. But if time feels strange inside your body, it feels stranger still inside your mind. Let's step inward next and listen to how your thoughts measure moments in ways clocks never could. Close your eyes and think of a moment that felt long. A summer afternoon, a day in childhood, a moment of waiting or of wonder. Now think of a year that passed too quickly. Maybe it just ended. Maybe it's still slipping through your fingers. Why do some minutes stretch and others vanish? Why does time sometimes feel like it expands and other times like it folds? It's because your mind doesn't measure time like a machine. It doesn't use seconds or minutes or numbers. It uses meaning, emotion, attention, change. Time in the mind is not fixed, it's felt, and it stretches like taffy, pulled between memory and moment. When something new happens, your mind lights up. It pays attention. It forms a sharper memory. More attention means more detail, and more detail means the moment feels longer. In hindsight, that's why childhood seems vast. Everything is new. Everything is noticed. You remember the color of the wallpaper, the sound of the hallway, the shape of the sky. Each moment, packed with unfamiliarity, becomes rich, thick with time. But as you age, you've seen more. You've done more. The mind begins to skip. Not out of laziness, out of efficiency. Familiar paths require less attention. Routine becomes blur. So a year can vanish in the rhythm of repetition. The mind compresses it. It smooths over the ordinary, and suddenly you wonder where the time went. But in truth, it didn't go anywhere. It just wasn't marked. That's the secret. You don't feel time passing. You remember it having passed. And your memory is not a clock. It's a storyteller. It rearranges. It edits. It reshapes time to suit the narrative of who you believe yourself to be. Moments of fear often feel slow in real time. Not because time itself slows, but because your brain absorbs more data, more frames per second, like switching to slow motion. Moments of awe do the same. A meteor streaking across the sky, the birth of a child, a song that seems to stop the world. You store more because you feel more. Emotion and attention are your internal timekeepers. And boredom, that's when attention wanders. And the moment feels slow, but leaves no mark. It's a strange loop. Time feels slow. But later, you remember it as having passed quickly. Because you don't remember time. You remember experience. And experience is built from change. You might walk the same trail every day. But if one morning a deer appears, or fog curls through the trees, that walk will feel longer, more vivid. You gave it attention. Your mind marked it. This is how you build memory, not from clocks, but from contrast. So if you want time to feel full, you don't need to do more. You need to notice more. A sip of tea, a patch of sunlight, the rhythm of rain on glass. These tiny details anchor time in the mind, and they give you back what the clock cannot: presence. Your mind also has rhythms, internal oscillators, that shape your perception of time, your heartbeat, your breathing. Even the rise and fall of your body's chemistry plays into your sense of duration. When you meditate, when you rest, these rhythms slow, and time expands. It feels generous, spacious. But when you rush or worry, time narrows. It speeds past in a blur of deadlines and distraction. It's not time that changes. It's your awareness of it. And then there are dreams. In dreams, time becomes liquid. You live through hours and minutes. You leap from place to place without moving. The mind, unanchored by external clocks, rewrites time entirely. And yet the feelings you have in dreams can be just as strong as those in waking life. So, what makes a moment real? Is it how long it lasts? Or how deeply you feel it? There is no single answer. Only this: you are the measure of your time. You carry it in your attention. You shape it with your choices. You soften it with reflection. You cannot slow the clock, but you can slow your mind. And in that slowing, you make room for more life to happen inside you. So tonight, as you fall towards sleep, notice what you notice. The weight of the blanket, the whisper of your breath, the shape of this moment. You'll never live this exact second again, but you can feel it. And feeling is the mind's way of giving time meaning. And in the vast distances of the universe, where light travels for years to reach your eyes, even space is measured by time. Let's lift our gaze again and explore how the universe speaks in a language written in light years. Look up past the ceiling, past the sky, past the atmosphere that wraps the world in wind and warmth. Look to the stars, and what you're seeing is not the now. You are looking into the past. Every point of light above you is a message from a time already gone, because even light, fast as it is, takes time to travel. And when distances grow cosmic, we don't measure them in meters or kilometers, or even the width of the earth. We measure them in years. Light years. Not years of time, but years of motion. Years of journey. A light year is the distance that light travels in a vacuum in 1 year. Roughly 9.46 trillion kilometers, or nearly 6 trillion miles. But numbers don't help much here. It's not about arithmetic. It's about scale and wonder and the realization that everything you see out there is a story with a delay. The light from our sun takes about 8 minutes to reach your skin. That means you never see the sun as it is, only as it was. The moon? 1.3 seconds in the past. Still warm with presence, but gently lagging behind your now. And the nearest star, beyond the Sun Proxima Centauri, is 4.24 light years away. If you saw it tonight, you'd be seeing light that left it 4 years ago. And the farther you look, the deeper back you go. A galaxy, 2 million light years away, sends light that left before humans ever walked upright. And the oldest light of all, the cosmic microwave background, left its origin more than 13 billion years ago, when the universe was still a baby, glowing with its first breath. This is what makes astronomy a kind of time travel. We can't visit the past, but the past visits you in beams of ancient light. Every telescope is a time machine, every observation a glimpse through layers of cosmic memory. Even the photons that just now touched your retina were born long ago. They've been traveling silent, unbending, patient to meet you here in this exact moment. Isn't that extraordinary? That you are the final destination of a journey that began before your name existed, and that somewhere out there, light from this moment is still moving outward. From your lamp, from your phone, from the warmth of your face, tiny signals spreading into the black, growing weaker, but never quite disappearing. Light does not tire. It does not pause. It does not age the way you do. For light, there is no now. Now simply moves, and doing so carries time on its back. That's why we use it to measure distance. Because in the cosmos, there is no separation between space and time. They're woven together into a single thing, space-time and light. A star might be far, but if its light touches you, it becomes part of your now. A supernova might explode 10,000 light years away, but to you, that event might be tonight's news. Not because it happened now, but because its light finally arrived. And so, in a sense, the past is always arriving, not just in memory, but in motion. This is the language the universe speaks, light and time interwoven. We look into the sky and see the present, but we hear echoes. Every beam of light carries a timestamp not in words, but in distance. So when an astronomer says, this galaxy is 10 billion light years away, what they really mean is, we are seeing it as it was 10 billion years ago. And what about now? What about what it has become? We may never know, because by the time light brings us the message, the galaxy has changed. Maybe it's dimmer. Maybe it's gone. The universe is filled with stories we can only read after they've ended. But isn't that what memory is, too? A signal from before still arriving in your mind. And just as the cosmos holds ancient starlight, you hold your own versions of light years. The distance between you and an old friend. The space between now and when you last felt wonder. The journey between a question and an answer. We all carry light that took a while to arrive. And when it does, when a thought finally becomes clear, when a feeling resurfaces, we become observers of our own deep sky. So let this comfort you, that even across impossible distance, light travels, truth travels. And eventually, Everything that was meant to reach you will. Even from galaxies away, even from lifetimes ago, because the universe is always whispering. And sometimes, if you sit very still, you can hear it arriving. But not all things arrive as quickly as light. Some things decay as they move. Some carry their own clocks inside their journey. Let's follow one next, a single particle, racing through time and space and stretching its moment far longer than you'd ever expect. Now we drift to the smallest places, not galaxies, but grains of the invisible. Particles, the little flickers that make everything. Most live brief lives, fleeting, measured in slivers of time, too small for us to feel. But time, even here, is not absolute. Imagine a particle, born in the sky, from a cosmic ray, a high-energy visitor from space, slamming into Earth's atmosphere. It creates something new, a muon. The muon is not meant to last. It lives for just a couple millionths of a second, a blink of a blink. And yet, that blink is long enough for something strange to happen. The muon begins to fall toward the Earth, moving at nearly the speed of light. And because it moves so fast, time stretches for it. From our point of view, it lasts long enough to reach the ground, to reach detectors, to reach us. It should have disappeared long before arrival. But it didn't, because when you move fast, time shifts. This is time dilation, the same phenomenon we've whispered through many chapters. But here, it's not theoretical. It's not metaphor. It's measured, observed. A particle moving fast enough lives longer. It's not that its body resists decay. It's that its clock, the rhythm of its life, slows down relative to ours. And so it exists where it shouldn't. This is the long sleep of particles, a journey extended by speed alone. If you could ride alongside that muon, time would feel normal to you. Your thoughts, your pace, your feelings unchanged. But the outside world would blur past you. Mountains would rise and vanish. Cities would stretch like ribbon. And by the time you reached Earth, only microseconds would have passed from your point of view. Meanwhile, from our perspective, you cheated time. You lived longer than you were allowed, but you didn't cheat. You moved, and motion made time softer. Even at the subatomic level, the rules bend. Isn't that beautiful? That even the smallest lives can last longer when they are moving with purpose. And this doesn't just happen in the sky war. In particle accelerators, we create unstable particles, short-lived blips of matter, and shoot them at speeds close to light. And we watch them stretch their brief lives into long arcs across the detectors. We see what they leave behind, the trails, the decay, the whisper of their existence written in spirals and sparks. A particle that should vanish in an instant may live long enough to teach us something. Even things measured in billionths of seconds have stories to tell. And those stories can be stretched. So what does this mean for us? You're not a particle. You're not traveling near the speed of light, but you are still in motion. You move with the planet, with the solar system, with the galaxy. And though your speed is modest compared to a muon, time still shifts around you. Tiny shifts, minute, but real. You age a fraction of a second differently than someone standing just a few meters above sea level. Your body, your cells, your atoms all obey this dance of motion and time. You are not exempt. You're part of the unfolding, and that's what makes these particles so profound. They show us that time is not a ruler. It is a fabric. It stretches, warps, and wraps itself around motion and mass. It is soft in places, tight in others, and even the smallest things move through it differently. The muon isn't trying to live longer. It isn't resisting decay. It's simply moving. And its motion changes the story of its life. Perhaps there's a metaphor here. Perhaps we too stretch our sense of time when we are in motion. Not rushing, but moving with intention, with purpose, with energy. When you fall in love, time bends. When you create something, it stretches. When you move through grief, it slows. When you run, or rest, or rise before dawn, you feel it change. Maybe you felt your own form of dilation. Moments that lasted longer than they should. Seconds that expanded with meaning. Like the particle, you move through time, not passively, but with it. And though you may never skim the speed of light, you are still a ripple in the same sea. So next time you feel that a moment is too short, or that time is rushing past you, remember the muon. Remember that even a billionth of a second can become something more. That motion changes everything. And that no life, no matter how brief, is too small to leave a mark. But there's a deeper truth still. Your particles, the ones that make you, don't all share the same age. Some are ancient, older than the earth, born in stars long gone. Inside you, time is layered. Let's explore that next, the strange clockwork tucked beneath your skin. You are older than you think, and younger too. Because the age you say aloud, the number you give when someone asks, is only part of the story. Beneath your skin, time is unfolding in many directions at once. Some parts of you are brand new. Others have been with you since before you were born. You're not one age. You're a mosaic. Let's begin at the surface. The cells of your skin, the ones you can touch, brush, scratch, most of them are just weeks old. Your skin is constantly renewing. Old cells die. New ones rise. Every month, you shed millions. The person you see in the mirror is not who you were last season, at least not physically. But not everything changes so quickly. Some of your neurons, the cells in your brain, have lasted your entire life. They do not regenerate. They do not reset. They carry your memories, your thoughts, your essence. They're as old as your first breath. Your bones, though made of hard mineral, are also alive. They are not static. They rebuild, remodel, adapt. It takes about 10 years to replace the structure of your skeleton. You carry the past in the shape of your frame, but also the present in the way it shifts to meet your needs. Your blood, red and flowing, has its own clock too. Red blood cells live for about 20 days. Then they are taken apart and their iron recycled to make new ones. Each drop you carry is in a constant cycle of life and loss. Even your stomach lining renews itself every few days. The cells exposed to acid can't last long. They burn out quickly, only to be replaced by others, ready to continue the work. Inside you, there is a quiet churn, a clockwork of replacement and endurance. Some parts of you move fast, others slow. But they're all moving together. And beneath it all, there's something deeper still. Your DNA. The genetic code that shaped you, spelled out in sequences of molecules, is older than your body. Because it didn't begin with you. It was passed to you from your parents and from theirs and theirs, across hundreds of generations, across oceans, across millennia. The DNA inside your cells is ancient script. It remembers how to build an eye, how to fold a heart, how to spark a thought. It has done this before, many times. And some of it is not even human. Inside your genome are fragments of viruses that once infected your ancestors and were folded into your code. Remnants of battles, long won. You carry them like time capsules buried in your biology. You are living history. And yet you're also new, because your cells, though built from ancient plans, react to the now, to what you eat, to how you sleep, to the air you breathe. Your body listens and adjusts in real time. It's called epigenetics, the science of how your environment tunes your genes like instruments. Some notes are loud, others quiet. The melody changes as you do, and this, too, is time. Not the ticking kind, but the tuning kind. Your body doesn't just age, it evolves. Every breath, every meal, every quiet stress or gentle joy leaves a mark beneath your skin. Tiny chemical tags, like bookmarks on your DNA, shaping how it reads itself. So when you laugh, when you grieve, when you rest under stars, you're not just passing time. You are recording it, and your cells remember. Scars, too, are a kind of clock. They remind you that something happened, that you healed, but also that time passed. Even without looking at a calendar, you know how long ago a moment was, by how the markers faded, how the skin has softened. You are a journal of healing, written in flesh. And inside your brain, the hippocampus, a small curved structure, files memories, not by exact date, but by texture, by smell, by feeling, by sound. This is how your inner clock works, not in numbers, but in moments. You remember your childhood bedroom, not because of the year, but because of the warmth of its light, the curve of a shadow, the sound of a drawer opening. Just so, these details are the tick-tocks of your emotional time. Even your immune system keeps time. It remembers every virus it's ever fought, every antibody it's ever made. Your body has libraries of defense built from past invasions, and those memories live inside you for years, sometimes forever. So when you think of age, think not just of years, but of layers. Think of all the versions of you, still echoing within the cells. You are a memory of your mother's heartbeat, a whisper for ancient oceans, dream woven by genes that remember starlight. And beneath your skin, time does not march. It swirls, it loops, it reforms, and not decaying. You're changing, like a tree, gaining rings, like sediment, finding its shape. Now all of this happens quietly, while you walk, while you rest, while you sleep. But even as you sleep, time leaves something behind. Not just in your body, but in the world around you. the folds of mountains, the bends in rivers, the echoes in your voice. Let's go there next, to the imprints time leaves behind, long after the moment has passed. Time moves. You know that by now. It flows in rivers of light. It folds in particles. It stretches across the stars and coils quietly beneath your skin. But time also touches everything it passes and leaves behind. A trace, a signature, scar, song. Time is not just what moves. It is what remains. Look at a canyon split open by wind and water, carved slowly over millions of years. That's time, laid bare. Not measured in minutes, but in layers, in sediment and silence. Look at an old tree's gnarled trunk twisting, where wind once pushed, where lightning once touched. Look at the smoothness of a well-worn stair, the polished edges of a favorite cup, the laugh lines at the corner of someone's eyes. These are the shapes that time creates when it brushes against the world. Not sharp, not sudden, but soft, slow, and true. Even sound carries time. Your voice changes over the years, deeper, softer, more deliberate. Not because time steals, but because it shapes. Like water, rounding a stone. Like ocean waves, smoothing glass. Even your thoughts are shaped by what time has passed through you. Grief reshapes silence. Joy reshapes memory. Patience sculpts your understanding. You're not the person you were last year, last month, even last week. You change because time touches you in ways you can't always see. And in return, you leave traces of your own. A gentle word, spoken at the right time. A kindness given quietly. A presence offered when someone needed to be held. These are the shapes you leave behind. You may never know the full weight of a gesture made in passing, but time remembers. The universe is shaped by what remains, the wake of a comet, the orbit of a moon, the tilt of a planet forever shifted by a collision billions of years ago. Even gravity isn't a force. It's a shape, a curve in space, made by mass and time, pressing against each other. The more you weigh, the more you shape space. The more you move, the more you shape time. And together, they form the great dance of everything that is. Galaxies spin because of these curves. Black holes hum because of these curves. You dream and sleep in a body bound gently to this fabric. Time is not separate from the world and me. It is the world unfolding. And tonight, it unfolds around you like a soft blanket of memory and motion. Every second that passes folds into something larger, a shape, a shadow, a story, and you are part of it. You're not outside of time. You are one of its many forms. You are the echo of starlight, the reflection of choices made long before your name. You're part biology, part memory, part moment. And no one else will ever shape time in quite the way you do. Even as you rest, you are leaving something behind. A stillness, a breath, a kindness. Something small but not forgettable. Because the universe doesn't need permanence to keep a record. It keeps it in patterns, in fingerprints, and the quiet geometry of things touched gently. And so, tonight, let that be enough. You do not need to move mountains to matter. You do not need to rush to be remembered. You're already shaping time with your stillness, with your awareness, with your presence. So now, let the day fall away. Let the rhythms of thought ease into silence. Let your heartbeat be the only metronome that matters. There is no race, no test, no perfect rhythm you must keep. Only the one that is yours. You have walked through stars and atoms, through ancient oceans and ticking atoms, through forests, particles, memories, light. You have listened to time from every angle. And now it is time to rest. Let this be your closing shape, a quiet mind, a heavy breath, a soul curled gently around the soft edges of a long and beautiful day. If you've made it this far, thank you for walking with me. This story of time, of stillness, of science and wonder was made for you. And if it brought you any comfort, if it helped you drift even a little closer to peace, I'd be so grateful if you gave this video a gentle like, maybe even subscribed for more quiet journeys like this one. And if you're still awake, tell me in the comments what part of the world you're listening from. I love seeing bedtime ripple across the globe. But now, you don't have to think anymore. You don't have to understand. You've already felt it. Let yourself fall. Time will hold you. Good night.